So this was arguably the best episode of Raising Kanan so far, and I can see why it's hyped to be one of the best of the season, because they brought it all in terms of how intense the episode was, with the action, dialogue, and Raquel's first kill. We saw the fallout from the death of Nicole, where Kanan learned the consequences to his actions, how devastated Juke was. We saw a favor for a favor being played out in this episode, with Raquel dropping her first body of the series, which was Gabriel, and Unique taking this war to a whole new level. And throughout this episode there was some real good dialogue once again, and I'm going to be breaking down all of the key conversations, but we're also going to be dissecting all of the main talking points from episode 8 in this review and recap. But of course, if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related. But let's kick things off with this, which was Raquel finally dealing with Gabriel for Julia, a favor for a favor, and this was a long time coming. We could see this coming from the beginning of the season when we were introduced to Julia at the bodega, who was someone who was suffering at the hands of her husband. So Julia called in a favor from Raquel after she helped her connect with her cousin Joaquin, who we saw again in this episode. They connected and Raquel told him that he doesn't need to worry about Detective Howard or anyone. She may have lost a few battles, but she has this war on lock, and it's true, you can lose a battle or two but still win the war. And that move that Unique made today was a huge mistake, which I'm going to get to. But let's talk about the aftermath of last week, where the episode started, and that's with Jukebox, who's already found out about Nicole's death. And Jukebox and Kanan are at her funeral, which of course was a place where Juke would never have been invited to. This was one of the promo images that I shared with you guys yesterday in my preview and predictions video, and it was Jukebox in Nicole's room, because it was just her trying to process her death. She's trying to figure out what happened because she was taken away from her so suddenly. She's reminiscing about the good times they had in episode 3 where they sang together, and she finds the note that Nicole left, but she doesn't actually read it, which I thought she would in this episode, but maybe this is something we'll see in episode 9 or episode 10. But Juke taking the videotape of them two singing. Now you guys may have remembered, I mentioned this a while ago, this tape could find its way back to Marvin, and this is how we could find out about Juke's sexuality. Now that Juke has taken it back, with how Marvin's always snooping around her shit and in her bedroom, I really wouldn't be surprised if he were to find this. And this is where we could really see them having this conversation about why there's such a disconnect between the two. But Nicole's mom was always going to blame Jukebox, she was always going to throw the blame in her direction, and Jukebox probably does feel a little responsible, but she was arrested and taken away. And here's where we talk about another favor for a favor, Detective Howard putting the call in to let Juke go. But why would Detective Howard choose to let Juke go? And the answer is because she's close to Kanan, and now she owes him, and at some point he's gonna come calling. So it's just something to watch in the next episode or two, a favor for a favor. But then we come back to the conversation between her and Kanan, where she pulls out the blue cap, and Kanan knows that he was responsible for Nicole's death. He's upset because Davina's now gone into foster care because her mom's died over a month ago. So now we know that Unique didn't hold his end of the bargain up when he said that he was gonna put her into rehab for the information from Davina. But when Kanan saw the blue cap, he knew instantly that he was responsible for Nicole's death, and for the first time he had nothing to say. Normally we see Kanan lying through his teeth and bending the truth, but for the first time he had nothing to say. Jukebox said that this place that they live in is a fucked up life that they're living, and no doubt this drug that was the cause of Nicole's death is one of many reasons why Jukebox never goes into this part of the game, especially because the older Kanan's narration, he told us that this is something that will change you forever, in a way you can never change back, and it's going to change Juke in more ways than one. She'll probably go back to boosting and never go into selling drugs because she doesn't fuck with what Marvin's into and what killed Nicole. She owes Howard a favor, and we'll probably see this relationship and bond build with Detective Burke as well. But let's talk about this relationship between Raquel, Marvin and Lulu and Kanan as well. But we're going to start with Lulu first. We saw Raquel having a conversation with Lulu, and he told her about Unique's offer that he made to him in the last episode. Unique offered him a position in his organization, because who wouldn't want someone like Lulu on their side? But Raquel had doubts about Lulu and thought that he'd been thinking about taking up Unique's offer. But this is what Lulu's all about. He's all about family and he's all about loyalty. He said that Unique doesn't know anything about him, because if he did, then he'd know that when he's put in the ground, then he'll be flying the same fucking flag he's always been flying, because he ain't flipping for nobody or nothing. And even though Lulu does have one eye on the music business, which we saw with Crown, with him taking 50% of his company, you can't doubt his loyalty to his family. But Raquel's conversation with Kanan, now this was something, because there was some real home truths that were delivered in this conversation. Raquel explained to Kanan how Marvin was sent down because he used to be a junkie he was using, and it's why we now see him refusing to take his own blow. In episode 2, Tony offered it to him and offered it to him again in episode 4, but he said he doesn't do that shit. So those are a few key details in the last few episodes. But this is where Raquel really delivers some home truths to Kanan. She tells him that all he's ever done is give a mess to clean up this shit, Buck 20, D-Wiz, bodies everywhere. And this is where she admitted that she had D-Wiz killed because it was either Kanan or him, and she did what she had to do to protect Kanan. And now Kanan really knows the truth. He may have had a feeling that his mom was involved before, but now he really knows. But now Raquel really knows what went down after her conversation with Detective Howard and Kanan. She took it to Marvin and told him that he fucks up everything that he touches, and worse, having Kanan caught up and all these dead bodies in the streets, and now she tells him that she's had enough of him. She's done. She can't fuck with him anymore because he's just causing too many issues for her, so he's out. But Marvin said he's a gangster who does gangster shit, and this is something I'm gonna come back to in just a moment. But Marvin is smarter than he looks. He proved it in this episode. He knew that Tony had detectives up at Lane's, and especially with the way she was questioning him about why he was there to collect money. We saw him clocking the detectives just before he left, and he said that ain't no pussy worth this bullshit. And this is the difference between him and Lou. He doesn't get attached, and he may make mistakes, but it's always the game for him. So coming back to how he said he's a gangster and does gangster shit, let's talk about Unique and why we're gonna see Marvin unleash over the next episode or two. Now Unique is pissed off because of all the dead bodies in the streets, because it's fucking up with his business now, because of all the cops in the streets, and he thinks that Rack is behind all of this. So he wants to go on the offense and send a real message. He said that this ain't just a hit, this ain't just a drive-by, this is a motherfucking message, and it's gonna be loud and clear. But he actually sent Lulu this message last week. He said that he was sorry for what was about to happen next, and he followed up on the promise. With Lulu chilling in his crib, he got a call from Rack telling him that he's up, but he said he was taking the night off. And this is what I mean between the difference between him and Marvin. If Rack rang Marvin to get gangster shit done, this is what he does best. But Lulu decides he wants the night off because it seems like he's celebrating his new business venture. Meanwhile, Unique and his crew roll up on him outside, light up his house, and start spraying everywhere. And with Lulu's house up in flames and with him being shot at, he's trapped and there's nowhere to go until Marvin enters. And this is what we meant about him doing gangster shit. He's not afraid of taking a bullet. He was going straight for Worrell, and I did actually think for a moment that he was gonna ram straight into him and take some of Unique's guys out. But I think we're just gonna have to wait one more week before Marvin absolutely unleashes hell. But Marvin goes into Lulu's place and takes him outside, but he's hurt. He must have taken a bullet or two, and breathing in those smoke from those flames wouldn't have done him any favors either. But Lulu ain't dead. Just like many had questions whether Scrappy was dead or alive, Lulu is definitely alive in my opinion, but this will probably be the catalyst for him to change and fully want out of the game. Whereas on the other hand, we're gonna see Marvin do gangster shit. I know we had Raquel telling Marvin that she doesn't want to fuck with him anymore, but with Lulu now down and out for however long, she needs Marvin, and this is where Marvin will really step up for his family. In episode 1, we heard him say, never turn your back on family, and we'll see Marvin show his loyalty and show his worth after what happened to Lou. And this was a huge mistake from Unique's side. As I said before, hitting the stash house was one thing, attacking Scrappy was another, but coming after one of the Thomases was a huge mistake from Unique, because now we're really gonna see what Marvin can do. He's been kept on the sidelines all season long, making mistakes and making life really difficult for Rack, but I'm sure we're gonna see him making an amends now. But elsewhere in the episode, we saw Lil Rob being arrested and let go by Detective Howard as well, him snitching that it was Kanan who was the one behind the bad crack, and he's closing in on Kanan. Howard is working the angle of Raquel, and after this episode, he seems like he has Jukebox now as well, who owes him a favor, so it's just something to watch. But that was episode 8, which I would say was the best episode of the season so far, especially with the dialogue and conversations between Rack and Lulu, Rack and Kanan, and with Marvin as well. But this whole war has taken a real dark turn because Unique has hit one of the Thomases, and there will be retaliation next week from Rack and Marvin, and it's set up for a real intense finish to the season. But that was episode 8 and the main talking points, so let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section, because I will be back with my second video later on this evening, so drop all your thoughts and comments down below. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 3 and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.